Good morning, my name is Lorrie. Welcome to my series on embellishments. Today, the day after all the holiday crazy, we are going to work on a very simple stitch. But first I'm going to pick the blocks. Then I'm going to show you the stitch because it is so simple, you might just turn the channel if you see it. So I have picked 3 blocks that I've embellished before. So this will be a second round of stitches added to them. So those are the 3 I've picked from before. And now I'm going to pick some, and I think I'm going to pick ones that, like this has a lot of dark, so I'm going to add some light to it. And let me see what else I have here. Oh, that yellow. Got a lot of red here, so let me pick out another block that one has a lot of 3 darks in a row, so that one will be good. Oh. That one would be great because it has a lot of dark. This one has a lot of dark, but I'm not ready to deal with the legs on that one. This would be great if I had a set color in mind, but I don't. Ooh, that one might be pretty. Okay, that's enough to work with for right now. So this, let me straighten these up. Oh, I see that needs iron back. So some of these have a backing. Some of them don't have a backing. It just depends on how the blocks were constructed. Most of them do have a backing on them. A foundation piece, a cloth foundation piece. Let me set the box of blocks over there. And Marion, I did that for you. You, Marion, you. So I know you like me to root through the blocks. So the stitch for today is so simple that it is not even in my dictionary of embroidery stitches from the 1960s, or the little card that's in there, or it's not on that one either. Out of the 4 that I have in here that are very basic stitches, it is not even on here. And you're saying, what? Yes, it's true. It's not even on there. Let me throw that aside. I have 2 examples of this stitch. One is right here. It is called the running stitch. And you're thinking, that's even a stitch? Yeah, you could do it just plain, or you could put a second color in there to make it fancier, which would make it actually more like well, it's not going to be a whipped running stitch. You could do a running stitch. You could make it a double running stitch with 2 colors. I think that would be fantastic. So, very simple, and you notice that they evenly as possible. The spaces are about as even as the stitches are. Not very hard, but decorative nonetheless. And then in here, she uses it on her fancy schmancy from the Elegant Stitches book, Judith Baker Montano. She uses it also in her, along the edge of a crazy block. So I am going to pull some threads today. I have this is a bag of, this is junk. This is stuff that came from a kit that Dan was working on, and there's just a piece that's big enough to work with, and I'm going to use probably 3 or 6 strands when I use this. And I'm going to do some of them, if it's a dark fabric like this, I will probably do a light or a red or something that will highlight that. And the reds, I will do something that's lighter, a lighter pink or a lighter color, so it highlights that. So I'm going to use some of those threads today. And I have, oh Marion, you're going to love this. I have this stackable container that, let me see if I get the right one. There's variegated threads. I might pull a piece of one of those out because that would be an interesting thing too. And I also, oh, my camera is off of where it needs to be. So I've got the variegated, and then I've got the shiny stuff. Look at all of that. Some of those, like that rainbow color one. This is called Jewel Effects. And it's E130. These were parts of collections of fancy schmancy flosses, and I took them out of their fancy little boxes and put them in one thing. Dan does not like working with them because they tangle so easily. So I can do whatever I want with this shiny stuff. So I think I will be using threads from all three of those containers today. Let me go get a needle and we can get started with some stitches. Maybe I should pair some things up so it's ready to go in a pile like I have in the past. Like this has gold, shiny gold in the blocks. I think I'm going to pull out a shiny gold and use it with that. Now, let me see. What do I want to do next? I think I'll just open this bag. Sorry about the crinkling. Oh, it doesn't even want to open. Nice. Oh, it's torn. Fantastic. Well, there it goes. I'm just going to pull all this glob of stuff out and start auditioning. Because I think, based on that red, that a red running stitch or a pinkish running stitch would look great. I think the pink would look better. Would look great on that blue. So I'm going to use that. Let's see what we've got here. We've got dark, and it goes the whole way down along. Maybe that dark thread, and I see there's one strand. Maybe that dark thread would look good there. Do I want to do a second? No, I don't think I do. I think that one nice long red stitch would work. Oh, wait. I don't know. I think that would work better on there. Don't you hate when I do that? Oh, I pulled that over. That's the hazard of using thread. So I think that'll work better on there. Let's find something else for this red. Is there more of that dark? I think there is. There's more of that lovely dark. So I can keep the dark and have enough for two. This just looks like it needs some shiny stuff. Oh, and you know what I forgot? The pearl cotton. So let me pull out. Ooh, I don't want the green, but that blue rainbow. Yes. And I left out the pearl cotton. Wait, let me get some pearl cotton. Because a running stitch without pearl cotton just wouldn't be. So I've got a big old hunk of bag of pearl cotton. And this would be great with something along, well, I don't know, that's not very much. But there on the green, and I have some great greens here. Got a thin green. Not so excited about that thin green. But this green would look really good on those greens, like stitched. Okay, I'm convinced. It didn't take long to make decisions for this. So this is an easy stitch. It will add just enough little bling, and I have 6 blocks? 6 blocks to work on, and I will go get a needle. Now I am ready to start sewing. I'm going to start with a block that has just one thread. This is not supposed to be pulled apart. It is made to be twisty and wrap around and stay as one thread. Now, it is a tangled mess. So that's what happens when you buy things at a thrift store, I suppose. So I just need a piece long enough to work with. And I'm going to make it a worse tangled mess so I can get a thread. I want a needle that has a fairly large eye. I hope this one is large enough. Otherwise, I might be going over to get a bigger needle or a needle threader. I think if I use my, well, I'm hoping. Let me say I'm hoping that if I use my pinch it technique, that it will come through the eye of that needle. Maybe not. And because the strands don't flatten out, maybe this was not the best choice to start. I was trying to start with the easiest, and maybe that's not it. Aha, I did get it. So you want, at lesson learned, you might want a needle with a little bit bigger eye than that. And I'm going to make my knot, and because I'm going to start on the back and work my way to the front. Now it is a fairly long needle, and it's fairly sharp, so I can take lots of stitches at one time. time. So let me get right under here, make sure I'm under the camera, and I'm going to start from the back. And I don't want my stitches to be too huge. And this is a very rustic stitch. And because I'm using a thicker thread and it has a base, I'm going to have to give it quite a little bit of a yank to get it through there. There's the first stitch. It might be easier to do one stitch at a time with this pearl cotton. Just saying. But it will be very decorative, and it'll give it just a little bit of something extra. Not too much. Something that you can say, oh, I did that stitch after Christmas. I was exhausted. And it just gives a little bit something more than nothing. So I also noticed that in the one book, sometimes she used this stitch to put a bead, to sew a bead onto. So instead of just doing a plain stitch, she used it as a bead stitch, which is an okay thing too. Okay, let me speed this up so you can watch some stitching, listen to some music, and see how impressive it really is. Decided to try something a little different on this one. I'm going to use 3 strands and a ribbon that was on a fat quarter, and I'm going to sew the ribbon on using a running stitch and 3 strands of floss. We had a little technical difficulty there between pulling those threads apart, and I'm standing near that wool mat again. I haven't sneezed all day till I stand near the wool mat, which I dearly love. Oh no, only 2 strands went through the eye. Let's try that again. Need all 3 strands at one time. Sometimes when that happens, the best thing to do, make sure I got 3 strands. I did not. Tell me, no, I got 3. Sometimes the best thing to do when that happens is to cut off the end. Start all over. And yes, off camera, I'm going to slobber on the thread. It holds it together. I guess you could use beeswax or something similar. I do have some of that. There we go. Slobber always works. I know, disgusting, disgusting. So I am going to make sure my strands are even at the end here. Oh, and they're not. Look at that. I'm going to cut that off before I tie my knot too. And then I'm going to use the running stitch to sew on this piece of ribbon. Originally I was going to go on the blue, but I think that this will add some extra dimension to the plain old white ribbon. will say that this is a very primitive look, but it's okay. It adds a little something, and that's all I'm aiming for this week is a little something. And if you do it and you don't like it, you can always pull it out. It's very easy to pick out. Now for the shiny stuff. And I think I'm going to go out here along in the red with the shiny stuff. I know why my husband doesn't like to work with this. It tangles so easily. I think I'm going to use 3 strands. I say that, but... And this does not... It is difficult to pull apart. And you can't slobber on it to get it to stick together. Let me get the needle threaded and we'll get started. That I'm going to use a fairly large running stitch with this so it doesn't get twisted or bound up, and it shows up nicely. So it's an on-purpose big stitch. And the noise that this makes when you pull it through the fabric reminds me of fingernails on chalkboard. It is not the most pleasant noise, but it looks better bigger, I think. Let me get to work and get this finished. It'll be just a second. The way that one turned out. Did you see the mess up? And this one was it was underneath it so perfectly that I didn't realize I had 2 blocks at the same time. So this one wants some gold. It's telling me I want some gold. So I think I will put some 3 strands around the middle. Okay, I finally gave in and went and borrowed a needle threader from my husband. And at the instant I said, I'm using metallic thread, he said, oh, I hate that stuff. Don't know if I'll be able to, oh, it doesn't want to go through the eye of this needle. Hang on. I need a bit, and I one in my pincushion. That's better. That probably would have been better even without the... And I've pulled some of the strands apart, and oh my gosh. I know why he hates working with metallic thread. I do. And I didn't want to pull that too hard because I didn't want to break my little wire. But this block, as you saw, it attached itself to the other block, and it just said to me, I want metallic thread. So it's going to get metallic thread. Not that I always give in to what the fabric wants, but sometimes it tells you. Okay, I'm just going to outline this center patch and give it a little blend. Stitch around the middle really draws your eye right in and away from all those dark patches on the outside. Well, the 2 light ones too. So I have one last one to go, and it is the blue with the, it might get, I don't know. I have to think about where I want to put this stitch. I'll come back after this one is done. So my takeaway from this is use a needle threader if you must, a large eye needle. Let's take a look at this simple running stitch that we've added to the blocks. the whole shebang. So some are parallel to seams in the center, framing it up, holding on a ribbon. Oh, that one's sticking to it. To bring out color, to play down some color. You can barely see that one. If I were doing this one again, I think I'd do it in a pink. And then the last one, to emphasize a strip. I hope you enjoyed this very simple technique and you give it a try. It doesn't take long to add just a little something something, because you know we're going to add a lot of something something before we're all done. Have a good day. See you on Wednesday for Build-A-Block Wednesday, where we make another block for Study in Scarlet.